Y'all, we pick up where we left off. Amara says yes to Safaree's proposal, which infuriated the baby daddy. Now, he tried hard not to be bothered, and he tells his family not to look over there because everyone is waiting for his reaction, and he's just not going to give them one. But what did he do? He gave them one. He grabbed his family, and they bounced, okay? Because he was pissed because he would have rather seen Amara sad. Ninjas get mad when they see you finding happiness without them. He doesn't want Amara, but seeing her happy with Safaree kind of bruised his ego. Meanwhile, Bobby wastes no time spilling the tea to Eliza about Safaree's proposal. Eliza says she'll believe it when she see it, honey. And Eliza is saying that she's coming to terms with being a grandmother. We see her with her daughter getting an ultrasound. And I was glad that she was there supporting her daughter. And it did make my heart proud when Lhhmia face lit up when she saw her baby on the ultrasound. She was just so happy, and it gave me butterflies. Meanwhile, Beyonce is preparing for her Rockstar Renaissance Festival. Trina is preparing for her Rockstar Festival. And I get them confused sometimes, so does she. So with the suggestion from Joy, Trina has decided to invite Zoe Brinks to perform. And that's good for Zoe. She put in the work, and she's a dope artist, and girl, do your thing. Shay on the beach with Fabo, and little Fabo, because that baby has that man's entire face. So Shay's mom called, and she sends her mom straight to voicemail. She says she knows she needs to make up with her mom, but she ain't ready yet. Shay, you have one mother, and that call could have been her last. You can find another man, honey. Don't let this man come between you and your mama. At the same time, her mother does need to fall back and let Shay make a fool of herself. Just allow her to do that. It's going to hurt seeing your daughter look stupid, but she got to go through the process. So then we see Safaree doing what appears to be cooking for Amara. But when you pause and zoom in, that tomato was plastic. The water was real, but that food was so fake. And I'm just sick of them giving us fake reality TV. I'm tired. So Amara asked him if he was sure that about the whole marriage thing. So he says, yes, they deserve to finally be happy. Girl. So Amara says that she's ready for the journey, but he has to put in the work and effort. That's the problem. That's the problem, Amara. He has to put in the work and effort. He don't have a problem doing that, but he don't have the mindset or the maturity to be in a healthy relationship, let alone a damn marriage. There's an old saying that says work and effort is like a well-rehearsed dance. You know the steps, you follow the rhythm. But if your heart and mind isn't in sync, it's just fancy footwork. If Safaree's heart and mind isn't in sync, girl, it's just marriage is just a fancy word for a dead relationship. He's not going to take the marriage seriously because he didn't take the relationship serious. He disrespected you in the relationship. He's going to disrespect you even more in the marriage. So the conversation starts to get real. And she says she doesn't want their marriage to end in divorce. Well, that's one thing she doesn't have to worry about because there will not be a wedding. And she knows this. So she goes on to say that she comes from a fatherless home and that left a void. And she said there was a space where she needed protection, she didn't get it from her dad. So now she looks at men hoping to fill that gap and get that protection and love she didn't get from her dad. And I really did empathize with her during that. It explains a lot about the toxic relationships that she's always in. So she goes on to say that she wants someone to love her. Amara, honey, you got to love yourself. Love yourself first. And then she tells Safaree not to hurt her, but he's already done that. But she's so desperate and just so thirsty for love that she's willing to tolerate his behavior and forget the fact that he's already hurt her numerous times. And once again, she's setting herself up to be played. So then we see the carbon copies, aka the twins. Every time we see them, they telling something. So they're telling Trick and Ray J that Safaree proposed to Amara in front of her baby daddy. So Ray J, in pure fashion, he's trying to throw salt in the game because misery loves company. Ray J is miserable and he wants Safaree to be miserable with him. So he tries to convince Safaree that Amara is not the woman for him. And Trick adds his 2 cents and tell him that Amara was acting thirsty and desperate for Alan's attention in the DR. But what I did like is that Safaree stood his ground and he told them, despite what they say, I'm sticking beside Amara. Now, we know it's a lie, but that's what he said. So in the next scene is the Rockstar Festival, and Trick's son and Zoe, they perform. They both did well. But Trina's boyfriend decided to self-promote himself to security. So, and he questions Trick friend. He was like, what are you doing over here? Are you waiting for Trina or something? And the guy said, I just told you I'm with Trick. So Trick see the little back and forth going on between his partner and Swerve. So Trick was pissed off and he said, nigga, you ain't security. And then he told him that, if this was another one of my partners, you would have got dog walked, pretty much. He didn't say that verbatim, but that's what he said without really saying it. So then he tells Trick to calm down because he tripping. Now, at this point, Trick and Swerve, they're in each other's face. They are face to face, practically French kissing. That's how close they were. And I know they smelled each other's breath. When I tell you they were close on each other. So Trina, keep your boy on a leash because he should be seen and not heard. You don't question a grown ass man what he doing there. So Trina's boyfriend was definitely in the wrong with the situation, and Trick handled it the way that I would have handled it. Don't write a check your ass can't cash, Swerve. So then Shay and Fabo, they meet up with her mom and MJ because Shay wants Fabo to apologize to her mother for the things that he said in the past and being disrespectful. And if it wasn't for Shay asking him to apologize, he may not have. Did he want to apologize? Hell no, he didn't. But he did. So her mom got a little sassy and she says that, first of all, I don't know what made you feel comfortable enough to talk to me the way you were talking to me. Now, the conversation could have ended there, but it didn't. Shay's mom decided she wanted to push the envelope and escalate the conversation. So she goes on to tell him that her daughter wants a husband, she wants to be loved, and she wants a family, and she don't think he want those things. And not only that, she think he's just around for the fame. That just, her saying that escalated the conversation. He was there to apologize, not to discuss your disapproval of him. Like, some things you got to keep to yourself because it's only going to drive a wedge in between her daughter. That shouldn't be the case, but it did. And two things can be true at the same time. Fabo is disrespectful, but her mom does get sassy, and sometimes she does push the envelope. So then Fabo gets sassy, and he says he's known Shay for 12 years, and it's only been a year since he's been on the show. He said, I don't want this. So she told him to stop raising his voice. And Shay asked her mom, look, if you're going to accept the apology or you're going to keep pressing the issue. And she said, well, is it real? So MJ, being the voice of reason, he tries to mediate and tell his mom that, listen, Fabo is trying to apologize and the focus should be on Shajaya. And he's right. They're arguing in front of that baby. She does not need to see that. So he goes on to say that Fabo is here. That's the man that Shay's love. He ain't going nowhere. Ain't nothing you can do about it but accept it. So Fabo tells her mom to speak to him in the manner that she would want him to speak to her. And Shay tells her mother that she's been disrespectful the whole time to Fabo. So her mother tells her, can she not have a conversation with Fabo without her butting in with her big mouth? So Fabo decides he's had enough. Okay, he takes the mic off and he orders somebody to bring his damn car. And he leaves. So Shay gets up because she's about to follow Fabo, and she tells her mom, don't sit here and try to be the victim because you messed this whole thing up. So Shay follows Fabo out the door, and she tells her mother she's not invited to the wedding and she won't see her granddaughter. Now, she was dead wrong for that because you're going to need a babysitter. So remember that. Remember what you said when you need a babysitter. And I know that her mom doesn't like Fabo, but what does that have to do with her being a grandmother? That has nothing to do with the child. At the same time, her mother doesn't need to keep telling Fabo and Shay about her disapproval of Fabo. It does nothing. It's only driving a wedge between them. Accept who your adult daughter has chosen as a boyfriend. You don't need to remind her every time you see her you don't like Fabo. What is that benefiting? Nothing. So her mother straight clocked Shay and told her, this is just for TV. You ain't getting married. Damn. And I agree. They've been together for 12 years and he has yet to make you an honest woman, put a ring on it. It's not going to happen, Shay. Meanwhile, Brooke is hosting a listening party and we see Eliza there and she's mad because Amara invited Shay to the Dominican Republic. Eliza, you shouldn't have been there your damn self. You shouldn't have been there either. But hey, drama loves company. So in walks Safaree and Amara. The air is thick with tension. And Eliza is making slick comments about their engagement. So then we see Zoe talking to Estelita and Flo, and she tells them that Safaree and Amara are engaged. So Flo decides to share a tall tale. Half of a truth is a lie. Okay? So Flo tells them that Safaree was flirting with her at the studio, but she failed to mention that she was trying to seduce him because it all started with her. Look at her lips, looking at him, with them sexy eyes, touching. She was doing too much. So Flo lets them know that woman to woman, she is going to tell Amara what's really good with Safaree. So then we see Brooke singing her risque lyrics to her new song about busting it wide open, spreading it wide. It was a little spicy, especially for her age. I like it. I did like it, but it was a bit much for an artist her age. But later she gives a shout out to the newly engaged couple, putting the spotlight on them. So Flo approaches Amara and tells her about the studio session she had with Safaree and said the only music he had in mind was clapping her cheeks. So she didn't mention the part where she seduced and tempted him. Safaree didn't start flirting until she started. So Amara thanked her for the information and she later goes to Safaree and tell him what Flo just told her. So in the midst of them talking, Eliza walks up and asks Safaree, what's up with the videos and the text message you just sent me 2 hours ago. So Safaree grabs his fiance and they headed for the door. But then Eliza, she's trying to show Amara the videos and the text messages that Safaree was sending her. Safaree denies everything. He said it didn't happen. So Amara asked to see his phone. She said, let me see your phone. So this ninja said his phone has died. So then she tells Safaree that she had already seen the video. So she know he's lying. And she says that Princess had warned her about him, but girl, she didn't have to warn you about someone you already knew. You know his track record. She didn't have to warn you, girl. So he decides to walk off. He didn't fight for her at all. He's not a good boyfriend, and therefore he will not be a good husband, Amara. You can't turn community peen into a house husband. Congratulations, Amara. You got played again, and you set yourself up. He didn't give a damn about her. If he did, he would have, at least fight for her. I mean, make it look like you really want her. Pretend. Fight for her. He didn't do that. As quiet as it's kept, she should have stayed with MJ. The only issue MJ had was his lack of funds. And that could be a big issue in a relationship. But I do think that he genuinely loved her. And that is the end of this episode. If y'all made it this far, okay, like the video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. And I will talk to y'all on the next video. Bye.